You see the one of the example that's we are talking about this one. This is the old example that we implemented with Java and Timeleaf, the fountain technology. You have all the possibilities. That's just look for the our channels. That's all the possibilities. But today we try to build the only the building the part of the implementations like here you can go. This is the screencast number 25. That's still the same things. This is the next one, and this is the comparison. How can you visualize the geo services with the different map libraries like open layers and leaflets or Google Maps libraries. You see the same data you are trying to visualize in the Google Earth, and now it's the same data is coming into the your very simple web pages and web application into the builds. So that's I mean. So that means what type of technology you try to use or what type of tools you try to use, you have all the possibility. That's why this is our idea to share with you all the possibility for how can you think about how can your industry need it, how your company need it. You can get really professional example from here, what technology, how the possibility, how the scopes is it needed, and just simply do it, simply take it. That's and of course this is our volunteer works. We try to share with you, but you can share also your knowledge, your ideas with us, and then we can make really good products. Yeah, that's I mean the intention like that way. So possibilities, there is many possibilities to handle it and to manipulate it, to work with the different tools and technologies, and then you need to understand the basic structure, basic idea of what you need and what the use cases for your cases. But we are trying to give it to you the possibilities, our specific use cases that you can get it from there, and then build your use cases or your functionality or features what you need. That I mean, this is the basic and core and generic functionality, the standard process when you working as a geo programmer, GIS or GIS mapping programming with Java, with OpenStreet, with JavaScripts or other frameworks, other web GIS programming languages. That's I mean for the intention for those type of the screencast. So this is one of the example like here. So you see, you got the idea what I mean. How can you manipulate it? How can you build the geospatial data sets, and then so on and so forth. Let's go back to our presentations. That's our presentation that we are trying to do. So that means our presentation is there. So that means we have geospatial database. That's we already look for that one. We produce our services, our sorry, our services, we connect with the PostGIS database. We published, we generate those geospatial services, and then after that, if you have services, then you can call the services into the very simple JavaScript libraries like OpenLayers and Leaflet, and then you can build your geospatial applications. That's I already show you. But when you have services like the publishers, then if you try to your customer need or you need it like to export or to those those geospatial data as a KML, then after that, if you have a KML file or KML-Z files, and you can visualize from the Google Earth, and that's very simple. That means you have a geospatial data in the database, you produce the services, use services, and then from the service level you just export the KML or other GML or other formats, or even though you can directly produce from the geospatial KML file from out of the PostGIS database. That's even though possible. That's one of the PostGIS geospatial extension from the post functionalities. You can directly select queries and did it as a function. That's why I plot it like this way. The PostGIS GeoSpatial SQL, the structured query language. You can write down also the select query, or you can make some REST services, or then expose your data as a KML or JSON or GeoJSON. Then after that you can rebuild the KML files and then produce and visualize the Google Earth. This is a possibility, many possibilities. We try to give it to you. How can you think? What are the possibilities from our experience that we had it couple of years? Geospatial, PostGIS geospatial functions means there is thousands of functions in the PostGIS database. I already started some screencast about the geospatial database queries and functions and procedure writing queries, but we didn't have enough time to build a screencast. We try our best to come up some solutions, or find out sometimes to give it to you, some screencast about how can you programs like PostGIS spatial queries write down, some scripting and some functions write down, and on or some the REST services publications, and then you can get this geospatial data and visualize where you need it, how you need it. That's why I put it like that way, the titles, and also you see some part of the information, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we already started in our channels. You see the some basic JavaScript and CSS and HTML, the beginner course, beginner the course, the screencast, and then you can also, those who have really less experience about JavaScript and JavaScript and CSS and JavaScript based any development framework, or front-end development frameworks. Just you can go. This is the screencast. I believe this is the the screencast number. Let's see, how is the screencast number? We already started, but I didn't remember it. What's the JavaScript? JavaScript screencast, the very beginning course for the JavaScript. I don't know the real number. The Java beginning course. This is the course I mean. So this is, you see some JavaScript based frameworks and third-party JavaScript library integration. Those who have really less experience about the JavaScript, CSS, HTML, they can go also this screencast, and after that they can start with the other screencast that's in the geospatial programming issues. So let's go back to presentation. What we have then. That's done. So now we start. How can you start? You just simply store your geospatial database, PostGIS database, and then you export and publish your geo services, and then after that you have all the possibilities to export it. So now let's make some extra example. What I mean, the previous one we already did it, but the viewers and subscribers asking us to give it to really clear one, the really specific one. That's why we try to give it to you today, really clear and live example. How can you do it? Let's do it today now. So meaning that sorry, this is an example. We can go. So we can go the directory where data is located. So this is the C directory, and then the screen. Oh, sorry, the mouse doesn't work properly. Sorry. This is screencast number 43. That means we have all the geospatial data sets. We have, let's see, we have a civil structure KML files, geometry GIS data info KML file that's we already talked about. You have a roadside station KML and KML-Z files, and the road, major road KML and primary road. All the data that you saw here, this is produced from the GeoServer. That's how can produce those GeoServer data in the GeoServer. So you have a PostGIS database, you just simply start your GeoServer,